Thank you for joining us, Nomalisa, today. Thank you for joining us on the STEMIFLIX Career Corner, which is part of the CSIR Annual Career Day, right? And this coincides with the National Science Week, under which theme this year that we're focusing on is living in a high-tech world, should we be worried? Before we get into that though, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you do at the CSIR.
Good day, everyone. My name is Nomalisa, and here at CSIR, I'm an intern under the Information and Cybersecurity Center, where we're dealing with secure identity, security devices and systems.
All right. Speaking of security devices and systems, you are working on a project that is considered one of the projects that could be leading us into technological advancements in the country, right?
Yes.
Please tell us more about it.
Okay, we do have a fingerprint device that is currently being used by the correctional services. So this device is being used to identify like the prisoners. Like they use this device mostly to also identify bodies. Like they say maybe somebody dies and there's no like identity to identify like most of the bodies that cannot be identified. This project also coincides with Department of Home Affairs, because when you are registered, each person has a unique identifier, which is like a unique fingerprint. So when we use that fingerprint, it's also going to be able to identify like this body belongs to this individual, things like that.
That sounds like a really cool project. I'm excited. And now, is there a possibility that this technology could be harmful in any way should it not be properly regulated?
Yes, there is a possibility. Like anything that has to do with fingerprints, biometrics, there is always a risk, especially if they land in the wrong hands. Because if somebody else can get your fingerprint, they can misuse it and hack your accounts. They can do a lot of things.
And identity theft on the rise now?
It's on the rise now, so
yeah.
Fake IDs can be also generated using your fingerprints and stuff like that. Someone can also commit crime, and then it will reflect badly on you, and it's not you at the time.
All right, thank you for that. Now, in a high-tech world where now everybody and everything is going digital, what are some of the skills that the future generation will need to thrive in this environment?
Most of the skills, it's mostly technical and also soft skills. So digital literacy is also important, like being aware of digital technologies that are out there and being up to speed with those technologies that keep on evolving. Like now we're in the era of AI, so like machine learning is evolving quite rapidly. So it's one of the skills that most people can lean towards. And also emotional intelligence is important, like knowing how to deal with people's emotions, and also ethics comes into play, because you have to know when enough is enough or when there's a limit for certain thing that you're using. And also some of the skills could be critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, like if you're thinking technology, is this technology, where is this leading me? Like you have to think ahead and be innovative. So those are some of the skills that can be incorporated in future.
Speaking of the skills that could be incorporated in future, I think what are some of the ideas or initiatives that the Department of Education could take leading into those skills for the future generation?
They can incorporate skills in the curriculum, like technology-related skills, and create projects that are mostly problem-solving projects that can show positive results, like where people will be able to see the results instantly, or like they can use their own mind and intellect to envision what the future will be like with those type of technologies. They should just introduce or encourage critical thinking, innovative thinking, and not just push away ideas that someone may come up with and just say, no, this one, not now, but yeah, be encouraging.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're off.
Thank you.
I guess we're going to keep to run to stand. So I'm going to play a video in the meanwhile, and then while we prepare the next person.
All right. The next person is Peggy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sanbonani, Dumelang, Abusheni, hello Team CSIR. Gompieno re mo ofising ya CSIR Kloppersbos, go etela Jabulani Mbonani le go ithuta go le gontsi ka tiro e a e dirang mo lekaleng la merafo la CSIR. Dumela Jabu and welcome to CSIR Connect.
Yebo sisi, ngiyabonga ukuthi ube nami namuhla.
So Jabu, as a technical assistant in the mining cluster, could you describe what a typical day looks like for you?
Okay, langa la kuso testa khona, testa ma specimen ngapha. Nangawutabheka la emva kwakho kunama specimen from different mines and different companies. So ngoma company ngokuhlukahlukana. Into ekhona ukuthi mina nangifika ko ekseni ngizokwenza le ndawo lena ukuthi ibe safe for ukuthi isebenze ukuthi sikhona ukuthi umuntu engizosebenza naye ngazi ukuthi yonke into ekhona lana isafe, and then ngiba ne safety talk naye, and then siyaqhubeka ngomsebenzi wethu. uJabulani usebenza lana as a technical assistant but uyi assistant explosive manager, so meaning ama operations wonke akhona lana uJabulani owabhekile testing nama explosions ngaphandle ama big explosions. So into ekhona ukuthi uJabulani une supervisor ye testing and then une explosive manager. So uJabulani lana into ayenza lana lona mchini lona i40 liter vessel 40 liter vessel so yenzelwe ukuthi ngizo siteste amalahle from ema mine. Imine iletha isample and then mina ngiyayitesta, ngibakhombisa ukuthi ingabe isample le iyacha noma ayichi na. Nangiceda lapho ngiba preparela i-report, ngiyabanikeza umshini lona ulana nase Germany kuphela, wenziwe eGermany lona i40 liter vessel la eSouth Africa ngeke uzuthola. Njengoba lama specimen la wabona la ngomningi lama sample lawa la ngomningi ngwatestele ngapha. Manje le engomva kwami le i20 liter vessel sitesta yonke into sisi. Sitesta like in Nestle, letha wonke lama specimen like coffee yabo, could be EBC, could be wabona Cremora yini baletha lana, and then thina bese mina ngiyayitesta lana bese ngiyabatshela ukuthi kuleyo plant leyo le akamelanga nibe this quantity yebisi at the same time or kosekale nibe this quantity yebisi or nangaba nomlilo ngaka lebisi lizotubula or nangabe no coffee ngaka sona coffee le izotubula and mayitubula izoyenzani izomosha ibuilding or ingalimaza umuntu kuphela. So i20 liter vessel kulomhlaba lona i20 here in Africa ngiyo le kuphela le 20 liter le. So nabane ngicalibrator sesingicalibrator against ama pass amanye angaphandle overseas, abo Spain, Germany, America, Italy. So mina la Africa ngimi ngi1 aba so if ever i20 liter vessel yama isebenzi kahle, and then ke meaning ukuthi la Africa lana we are doomed. Yes, and it's the only one.
Okay, sounds like your job requires a lot of detail orientation. One needs to be very careful with the details and the process. So tell me, how does the work you and your team do impact the mining industry as a whole?
Thoma kwami ukubereka la CSIR was 13 years ago. Azange kube khona i-explosion ebakhona phansi emgodini. Yinto lena esiyenzako lana sikuthi sivikeleke ukuthi kungabi khona i-explosion ebakhona ngaphasi emgodini abantu uma basebenza phansi emgodini. So umsebenzi wami soli ukuthi sifundisa abantu abasebenza phansi emgodini ukuthi ngobungozi bokuthi emgodini bangela abanye abantu ilokhanje ukuthi bangabangela abanye abantu ukuthi babulawe ukuchuma kwembawula nakanye ukuchuma kwethuli lamalahle uma kangalandeli i-standard sasemine or i-code of practice yasemine. So umsebenzi wethu nasilana njengoba ubabonile ngaphandle lakade bezile bazosivakatshela, umsebenzi wethu ukuthi basifake eklasini siyabatshela ukuthi no phase emgodini uma usebenza landelani uhlale ukuthi kube ne-ventilation, nehlale ukuthi kube clean, kungabi nethuli lamalahle, ama-water sprays ahlala bekhona. And then ilokhandile thina sipreventa ukuthi kungabi khona i-accumulation or ukuba khona kwembawula phakathi elokhandini or ithuli lamalahle. And then abantu basemine balandela leyo migomo leyo esibatshela yona, ingakho ukuthi thina i-impact yethu ngaphandle kwethu abantu laba angeke bazi ukuthi kwenzakalani phansi emgodini, futhi angeke sibakhombisa ukuthi uma ngabe bangenzi lokho kuzokwenzakalani, bese sibakhombisa ngama-explosion lawa amakhulu lawa akhona ngaphandle lawana ukuthi uma ningenzi sona nasi enizibizela yona.
Your job really does make, or rather is really significant for the safety of the mining industry as a whole. And you sound very passionate about what you do. What do you enjoy most about the job and why?
Into engithabela kakhulu ngomsebenzi lona ukuthi ingibeka phezulu. Ungibeka phezulu, ngiyaziwa abantu abasebabadala. So ngimunya i-knowledge lekiwo, and then mina ngiphakathi nginabantu engibereka nabo, and then nginabakhulu engibereka nabo, mina ngilaphakathi. Ngithatha leya knowledge leyana ukuthi ngikwazi ukuthi nami laba abaphansi kwami laba ngiba khona ukuthi ngibanikeze leyo knowledge leyo. So njengoba manje ngifundile ngiberekile nasemine ngaphasi emgodini, ngilakho ngithokoza abaphathi bami thoma le usesibonga Ntwelengi, uyakuba uRian Berg no Mr Isaac Mthombeni abangithethe kobangisa elokhanjini ukuthi ngiyobereka emine, ngibone ukuthi no like kuhle na ubereka emine yini into ohlangabezana nazo, ngamani ukhuluma into nje kuphela ukuthi utshele umuntu ngento nawo zange uyibone. So umbereko wami ukuthi ngikhambile indawo sisi, ngine-explosive management, nginguminer, ngine-laboratory management, ngi-facilitator, ngi-assessor, ngi-technical report writer. So ngikhambile ngibonile sisi. So into engithabisa ngombereko wami ukuthi ungithatha ungibeka la engifuna ezingeni la engifuna ukuba khona.
Impressive. I think you are what we call EVP Gold because you speak a lot about the professional and personal growth that the CSIR has allowed you, and that is what we love to see for all our talent. Thank you so much for joining us and allowing us in your space.
Ngithokoza kakhulu sisi, ngibuye ngokulandela.
You have just seen the work that Jabu and his team are doing, and I'm sure you've identified potential areas for collaboration. Don't wait any longer. Reach out to Jabu and his team today. Happy Heritage Month. See you next time.
Welcome back, and still on the topic of living in a high-tech world, should we be concerned? We are joined by Peggy Koza, who is working on face recognition at the CSIR. Peggy, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers at home?
My name is Peggy Koza. I'm a data analyst intern, but my skills spans to software development, research, cybersecurity, and almost data analysis too. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining us. Now, you are working on the face recognition technology, and I'm intrigued. Tell us more about it.
Oh, well, face recognition technology is a technology that uses biometric identification method that uses physical characteristics to identify identities. As for face, it uses your facial features to identify you. Yes.
All right, thank you. And I guess that's one of the features that we have on one of the cell phones that most people use these days.
Yes, it's one of the matured ones to identify.
Great. Now moving on to our question. Now, speaking of phones and new technology, with virtual and augmented reality becoming more common, what are some of the risks that we should be looking out for in order to not lose personal touch with the real world?
I think excessive use of these technologies may reduce your problem skill solving, ability to identify what's real and what's fantasy, and also may cause you to be isolated from people.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I believe that can have more effects, especially on your psychological, on a psychological level, right? Because we do need communities to live in and keep up with.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for that. And should we be concerned with deep fake technologies and its potential misuse?
Yes, we should be concerned because likely I think we were having our elections, and deepfake technologies can be used for propaganda and misinformation, election interference, and can also be used for misidentification. Yes.
Definitely, which can all are things that have big consequences.
Like if you are being misidentified, your image can be ruined. Yes, you may end up being fallen victim of crimes that you were not involved in.
Great. Well, thank you for the.
So umsebenzi wethu uyasiza kakhulu kulokho ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bahlele kahle babone ukuthi izinto zabo zi-right ukuthi bangakwazi ukuyidayisa. Nanokuthi-ke i-team engisebenza nayo sisebenzisana kahle every time masisebenza kaze kwaliwa, so ngikujabulela kakhulu umsebenzi wami.
A very key role that you are indeed playing together with your team, and I love the collaboration element that you've just alluded to. It is definitely what our epic values stand for. Thank you so much, Sihle, for opening your lab doors to us.
Kubonga mina, kubonga ne-team yami ekhona la engibukele ngoba ngikhuluma, sibonga kakhulu.
You have just witnessed some of the impactful work done by the CSIR mining cluster. Please reach out to them to explore collaboration opportunities. Thank you for watching. Ke go eletsa le kgwedi ya botshwantsho morwa e e itumedisang. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Abusheni, hello Team CSIR. Kgwedi ya Lwetse ke kgwedi ya botshwantsho morwa mo Afrika Borwa. Mme CSIR e keteka pharologanyo ya batho ba rona. Fa re bua ka batho, gompieno re mo ofising ya CSIR ya Cottesloe go etela Sihle Thwala le go ithuta go le gontsi ka tiro e a e dirang. Dumela Sihle, and welcome to CSIR Connect.
Sawubona Masima, ngiyabonga ngipha ithuba for ukuthi nize la nizokhuluma nathi.
Sihle, as a testing officer for the mechanical lab in the mining cluster, could you describe what a typical day at work looks like for you?
Ekuseni mangifika kumele ngifike 7 engakashayi. So siyahlangana neqembu lethu le mechanical, sikhulume ngomsebenzi okumele siwenze ngalolo suku. Sikwazi ukuthi sihlele ukuthi sizowenza kanjani, sizoqala ngamuphi. So kunokwenzeka ukuthi sibe nomsebenzi compression machine, sibe nomsebenzi ku-tensile machine, and then lapho into esiyenzayo ukuthi sihlele ukuthi sizoqala nge-compression or nge-tensile machine ukuthi sikwazi ukutestela amasampuli ama-client ethu. And then kunokwenzeka ukuthi ama-client afike azobukela i-test yenziwa, or kunokwenzeka futhi angafiki sitheste engekho ama-client. So okwenzakalayo ngalelo suku lelo mase siqedile ukulokhuzana ukusebenza, then sibe nesikhathi sokuthi sidle ne-lunch, then usuku lethu ngalelo suku mase siqedile umsebenzi walelo suku uyaphela.
Sounds like very interesting and hard work that you get up to every day. And how would you say your role contributes to keeping the mining industry safe and efficient?
Okay, izinto ezenzekalayo sithola kuma customers or kuma khasimende ethu ukucompressa itimber, izinkuni ngesizulu, nama-ground pack okuba usimende ngesizulu, ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi siyicompresse, sibheke ukuthi zisemgangathweni zokuthi zingavikela abantu emayinini. So into eyenzakalayo siyayicompressa, sithole i-load okuthi ifeyile kuphi, and then sicompresse ezinye siyitensile, sibone futhi ukuthi zifike kiphi load. So emayini mabeyisebenzisa lezi zinto sikwazi ukuthi zibavikele ukuthi umhlaba ungawi ezibegubha bemba amalahle or ama-gold or platinum. So umsebenzi wethu usiza lapho ukuthi ikwazi imayini ukuthi mabesebenza lapha ngaphansi komhlaba emathunjini omhlaba babe safe and bavikeleke.
You sound very passionate about the job that you do. So tell us, what do you enjoy most about your job and why?
Umsebenzi wami ngiwuthanda kakhulu because uwona osisizayo ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sisize amakhasimende ethu ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi babone ukuthi izinto zabo zi-right ukuthi bangayisebenzisa for ukuthi bayidayise also ezinye, because asenzeli i-mining kuphela, senzela nama-manufacturing company la akhiqiza insimbi. So umsebenzi wethu uyasiza kakhulu kulokho ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bahlele kahle, babone ukuthi izinto zabo zi-right ukuthi bangakwazi ukuyidayisela amakhasimende abo. And then so leyo part esiyidlalayo as i-CSIR kungijabulisa kakhulu lokho, nanokuthi-ke i-team engisebenza nayo sisebenzisana kahle every time masisebenza kaze kwaliwa, so ngijabulela kakhulu umsebenzi wami.
A very key role that you are indeed playing together with your team, and I love the collaboration element that you've just alluded to. It is definitely what our epic values stand for. Thank you so much, Sihle, for opening your lab doors to us.
Kubonga mina, kubonga ne-team yami ekhona la engibukele ngoba ngikhuluma, sibonga kakhulu.
You have just witnessed some of the impactful work done by the CSIR mining cluster. Please reach out to them to explore collaboration opportunities. Thank you for watching. Ke go eletsa le kgwedi ya botshwantsho morwa e itumedisang.
Welcome back. Having on the couch is Sia May, who will be telling us why you should study science. Sia, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am, for having me.
Please introduce yourself to our audience. State your name, your surname, your cluster, and the project that you're currently working on, not forgetting, of course, your role at the CSIR.
Oh, yes. Siyasanga May, I'm with the CSIR. I'm a PV technologist here. I've been with the CSIR, I think this is more than 7 years now.
Ooh, yeah.
I joined just after my undergrad. I currently hold a master's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Johannesburg. I've been involved in PV, which is photovoltaic systems research. We do feasibility studies, we do system designs, we more or less doing the research on the PV system, yes, where we check for, I would say, how best can the technology itself be utilized, we optimize, we design practically. We have one of our own here in the campus that was once under our leadership as well, where we were looking for maintenance and operation of the PV systems, yes.
All right, thank you for that. Now, I just want you to contribute a bit. I know we are all familiar with PV, not all familiar, but we see the PV panels are all around. Correct. Now, how is this affecting our community?
The deployment of PV system has been staggered before, but when the load shedding hits, many of our communities or even people around South Africa in general, even part of the world, then they try to venture into PV, trying to stay off-grid, trying to have some reliable power supply, which is why we exist. We're here to do, our project around the testing of those PV panels. We recently commissioned a research facility where we actually test the PV panels. Some of these have been deployed already in the South African context. Some are already failing, which is quite concerning. Some are already still new and they are doing very well. Our main research focus is on doing a research on those, trying to understand what were the technical issues that the PV installers faced. We actually focus on the technology itself, We know for sure some of these PV modules are not locally manufactured. So they are exported from outside the country to South Africa. So we use standard there is an international standard where we actually test this panel. We actually test them for reliability, meaning the robustness, how long can they last. They are rated for 25 years of lifetime. We actually have some of the tests that actually fasten that 25 years of lifetime. So then you won't have to wait for 25 years to see premature failures. We're actually here to uncover those. So then we can assist PV installers to make warranty claims to PV module manufacturers. So we're actually here to bridge the gap.
All right, thank you for that. And I'm assuming this is an ongoing process, right?
It is definitely.
So what have been some of the highlights of the project?
Some of the highlights will be, we actually, I'll say during my master's, I used the very same PV technologies that we have here at home, where I was doing my research study on them. One of my highlights was actually to share some of the research findings. So I was actually using machine learning, meaning which now we have AI that is predominantly posting up on the internet, and everyone is actually interested on how can we automate some of the things. So we actually use the data sets that we collected from our outdoor test facility, where we have this PV deployed earlier 2017. So then from those records, we develop machine learning where we can actually do prediction. With those predictions, then we can sell the same service to people who are doing PV installation and monitoring. You can actually have a we've got these machine learning models that actually learns the hidden pattern on the data that can tell you earlier on maintenance issues. You wouldn't really wait to seize those, so you'll have a greater insight and you'll just be step ahead with the implementation of those. So I think that was one of my highlights. Some of other highlights will be when we see these projects that we're involved in are actually kicking, where we actually help. There's a recent project that we're involved in where we develop a PV system designed for local clinic. Those guys are actually have been hit hard by load shedding during the time. So they actually venture on having their own renewable energy source within the clinic facility, where they can even reduce their own energy footprint and reduce their own energy bill. So that kind of fascinates me when we actually bridge the gap. We take the technology to the people, and the people actually benefit from these technologies. Thank you.
Sia, these are some of the great works that your project is doing, and I'm really impressed, I must say. Hope you are too impressed. Now, Sia, everything has a good side and a bad side to it. Now, what have been some of the lowlights that the project has experienced?
Some of the lowlights in the project will be, I'm from a technical background, I would say. With our engineering, these challenges are inevitable. There will always be challenges. Hence, we always have, I'll say, a good team morale, a good support. We will forever have challenges, but our strength to rise above those challenges, actually tackle them and solve them. I think those are actually what the career it entails itself. So the lowlights will be when you see there is project delays, whether during registration, whether during involvement of the community. Remember, some of these projects are deployed, and we need a buy-in from the communities. So there are those delays where you actually have to bring the community on board. You actually have to sell the technology to the community, and you actually have to show them this is going to be the benefit from their side. Remember, some of these PV panels or PV system, they are what called microgrids. By microgrids, meaning which a small community or a short, just a small group of people that actually have their own energy source, that they actually use that for themselves. Meaning which, if we say ourselves here in the campus, we'll have our own microgrid where we have a small grid that we only serve our own energy needs. So having those people, they tend not to get the buy-in because the communities, some of the, remember we're from apartheid time. So people feel like we are going to be isolated now. There's a national grid where everyone is connected to. But why us? Why are we going to have our own? So people, they are still that buy-in delay where, you know, the community acceptance is still an issue. I think those are few lowlights from our side.
Thank you for that, Sia. Now, how long did it take from the initiation period to where you are now? How long did it take the project to get here?
Some of the projects are actually going in phases. I mentioned to you we have a testing facility within our campus. We have some of the tests that are actually there to mimic or kind of put the modules, stress them thermally. That's a bit lengthy because it's actually meant to simulate the 25 years of lifetime. But with our thermal chambers, we are able to do that within 42 days, meaning which 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
So during that time, we actually hold fingers to hope that the chamber won't have technical issues. Will actually ramp down. Remember, this thermal effect is we load the PV panel on the chamber.
Yeah.
We set the temperature set point from negative 40 degrees to 85 degrees relative humidity. So it's more like you lock somebody on a fridge few hours and you take him to a stove for baking. So we run those thermal cycling going up and down. So that actually that's one of the lengthy test sequence that we have, which is 1,000 hours. That's equivalent to 42 days. So for that time, that's actually when we actually do some of other parallel work. Remember, not everything, maybe not every project that we have received will always go through the chambers. We are able to run some of other series tests whilst we wait for those to complete.
All right, thank you for that, Sia. Now, besides the project, what are some of your favorite scientific discovery of all time?
Wow, that one. I would say my favorite scientific discovery is the photovoltaic effect itself, meaning which we have a technology that when it's exposed to the sun, it actually able to generate energy. I think that's the mother body, because some of all these new innovations are coming from that one. So we having that as a breakthrough earlier have enabled us to have now technologies that are more fascinating in terms of energy. They are able to capture more energy. They are able to be deployed relatively everywhere, and they're freely and easy to use. I think those are my best discovery of all times. Yes.
Thank you, Sia. Now tell us, why should our viewers, the learners, now take up STEMI careers and take up STEMI subjects in school?
We need those people to be in science and technology. That's a nice one. STEMI is your science, is technology, is mathematics, and innovation. Those alone are kind of people that are driving the world at the moment. There are issues of energy access, there are issues of climate change. So if you are still impressed by those, you want to make contribution, meaningful contribution or impact to the world, and plus the renewable energy still evolving other than other careers that have been already developed and stuff. So if you want to be on the forefront to rise with the technology, and challenges will be there, but you have to learn from the challenges. You keep experimenting. That's what scientists or engineers do. I think you will be on the right field.
And because you are on the right field, tell us, what was your favorite subject in high school?
I've done, I think electrical engineering was my favorite subject, yes, I think it was, it's just a cross between engineering science and the mathematics. So if you are fascinated to see the real application of mathematics and as well as the real application of engineering, that's where your engineering is.
Thank you, Sia, for joining us.
Thank you.
And to you, our learners, if you are interested in making change, impactful change in the space of STEMI, we encourage you to join us and take up STEMI subjects. And you could be sitting with us like Sia now, telling us about the epic initiatives and projects that you are taking. Stay tuned. See you.
Thank you.
So what does a day look like for a physicist? Well, specifically, I'm a laser physicist. And the first thing I've got to do when I get to the office is have a cup of coffee. Really important. Helps me just relax, but also gets those creative juices flowing. Then, typically, I'll head on to the lab. I'll go and I'll start playing with laser crystals and start building laser systems. But in general, it's continuing with the experiments, as experiments don't just take a day or two, but they can take several months to complete. But with the fun of working in the lab and being able to build experiments, there's also a little bit of admin to do. As being a physicist, you have to be able to write papers, reports, and to be able to apply for funding. But most importantly, it's about creating those new ideas. What projects am I working on? Well, I'll give you an example of two different projects. The first project is we are developing a laser system that is assisting in detecting diamonds. Now this will tell me the difference between a diamond or a piece of quartz, or even whether it's a rock. This is really impactful as it allows a lot of diamonds to be detected at a very, very quick rate. This has a large impact on the South African economy, and this will have a lot of impact on the people in South Africa, but also continue to keep us on the global map in the diamond space. The second area and the second project is by developing fiber laser systems. We are looking at developing very neat small fiber laser systems for the detection of different gases. Now, why would we want to detect gases? Well, certain gases in certain environments, like a mining environment, are highly toxic and are fatal to humans. So, in terms of health and safety, being able to detect these gases gives us a means to be able to evacuate or find solutions so that these gases are not leaking into the environment anymore. So we have these two wonderful projects, but of course, those are just two projects. We work on about a variety of projects, probably about 4 or 5 different projects. How often can you say that you get out of bed and you come up with a crazy idea that maybe is going to work, that maybe it's not? Most of the scientific discoveries that we've had over many, many years have either been through really hard science or purely by accident. So coming up with these wonderful ideas, new ways to do processes, new ways to visualize science, I think is really critical. And that's something that really excites me and gets me going every day. So what are the hard and soft skills that you need to be successful as a laser physicist? Well, the first thing is perseverance. Perseverance goes a long way in all forms of science, and it's really critical. You're going to hit a lot of bumps on the road when it comes to generating new ideas or even executing those ideas. So perseverance is really, really, really critical. Sometimes you'll find that, after maybe even a couple of years, you never ever get to the answer that you're looking for. But if you keep persevering through the problem, it's quite important. I think the next skill that's really valuable is to be curious and to have this wonderful process of thought that goes with trying to learn as much as you can. Yes, maths and physics and a lot of subjects are really important, but curiosity is what really drives scientists. It's an area that we strive to continuously be part of, because without curiosity, you wouldn't be able to generate a lot of ideas or even learn brand new things. So curiosity, learning new ideas is really a critical skill to have. So where do I see the future of my career going? The area I work in is in laser physics, but it's part of a much larger area called photonics. Now, photonics is the study of all things light. So if we track back, maybe let's say 80 years or so, we found that electronics was dominating our entire environment, our entire being, how we communicated, how we did everything. But now, photonics and light-based science is starting to take over. If we think about simple things like a CD player or a DVD player, or even actually the internet, those are all light-based technologies. Light-based technologies are being used in the medical field, in the military, in communications, and even in entertainment. So light-based sciences, and specifically laser-based sciences, are going to continuously grow throughout the 21st century and beyond. And this is really critical for the work that I'm doing in my career, as it puts us right at the core of this development. And in future, who knows what will happen? But all I know is that it'll be driven by light.
And welcome back. We hope that you are enjoying our interviews and getting to engage with our researchers, our technicians, and our scientists here with us. Joining us now is Nkgape, who will be telling us more about his academic background and how you could get to where he is. Hi Nkgape, welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much. Thanks for hosting me today.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right, I'm Nkgape Sebesebe. So here I'm a student and PhD students, mostly working on artificial intelligence for diagnostics of some diseases. So my background, I have a BSc in mathematical sciences, and then I have an honors in physics, computational physics. I have a master's in physics, another one in mathematical sciences. So now I'm currently doing a PhD in biomedical engineering.
2 master's degree. How did it come to that?
Well, it's when you're in the field, sometimes you just want to explore more of the things. So with the BSc in mathematical sciences, basically what you do, you get exposed to all subjects in the STEM. So you gotta choose which ones you major with. You gotta choose about 3, and then I went with computer science and physics, and then I realized no, I need maths in between, so I went back to do another one.
Yeah, another one. And how long did it take you with your 2 masters to actually complete them, all in all the years in total?
Well, it's 4 years, 2 years, 1 master's, 2 years, another master's, so in total it's 4 years, yeah.
All right, looking forward to the red gown, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Now, how did you learn about your career or your field?
Well, mostly I was interested in maths back in high school. So, and then there was this new terms of machine learning, artificial intelligence coming along the way, and then you gotta hear all of the stories that what's running behind these mathematical functions, and then that's what I want to explore. So I decided to go for it. So yeah, that's why I went. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Now, what interested you about this field? I know you mentioned machine learning, but what called you to it? What said to you, I'm pursuing this, and yeah, I'm going to see it through all the way to a PhD level?
Yeah, well, what directed me towards this is just to help the rural community. So what I do with machine learning, you always hear stories about it's fast, it's automated, all of that. So if it's fast, then it means I can use it to help people in rural areas, because we have a lot of people with communicable diseases there, and then the way of diagnosing them is a problem. So I was like, okay, now let me try to take this area of study and try to help the people. So that's why I based the project that I'm currently doing now to perform some quick diagnostic, you can put it that way, to help people at least to have a quick help. See?
All right. Speaking of the quick diagnostic project that you're working on, please tell us more about it. It seems very interesting.
Yeah, well, it's a quite fascinating project. So what happens is we try to teach the machine just to try to diagnose the patterns in a certain diseases. So what happens is, in a simple terms, that artificial intelligence just simply taking the way at which a human mind works, all of those neurons sending the messages, then you put them in a computer, or try to make the computer learn just like how you teach the students in high school, how the mind grabs some of the information, how it learns to process it, and at the end of the day come into a decision making. So we are just developing a function, a mathematical function that performs all of that, and then it runs in the background of the machine, and at the end of the day it's able to tell if you are infected with certain disease or not. So that's basically what we are doing.
And I know this is in its initial stages, and you're still working on it, but at the end, what do you envision? Who will be able to use it? Is it going to be available to households in rural areas? Is it going to be only available at clinics? How do you envision it?
Basically what we want to do is we want to make it available to almost everyone. So it's just that technology that's just a plug and play. You don't need to be trained on it. You just need to just follow some steps, and then you plug and play. It tells you the outputs of that one. That's what we are trying to do.
Oh, that sounds so cool and interesting. Now, what do you think is the key to success in science?
Well, science is just one field where there's always a problem. Every solution, for one solution, you have about 10 problems. So if you want to get into this field, you just have to be open-minded and just willing to solve any particular problem that you may see. Like the problems, there may be problems that some people don't think is a problem, but if you're able to come up with a problem, it means now you're in the right direction to come into science field.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now, if you were to encourage a learner to go into your field of work, what would you say to them?
My field of work is quite diverse. So for all the students who wants to go into this kind of field, it's just they must be willing to have an open mind, not be afraid of tackling new things. Yeah, because what we need is just what you can bring into the table, not what you can use that is there. We are not working on what's there, but we are looking on what you can bring to solving a particular problem. So there's no actual solution for the problems we are facing. We are looking for someone who can come up with a way of solving them. So any students who's willing to just have a mind that can think out of the box, that's what we're looking for.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And there we have it from Nkgape. All you need is an open mind, being able to solve the problems that arise, because from every one problem, there's 10 other problems that are coming your way. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next one.
metallurgists spend most of their time working in laboratories. Metallurgists are just like bakers, you know. They work with ingredients, and in our case, the ingredients are metallic materials, and then we blend them, and then we take them into an oven, we bake them, and eventually end up with a product, a final product. And in our case, the final product is a solid material. The project I'm currently working on is alloy development, and alloy development, we take metallic powders as our starting materials, and then we blend them, we press them so that they become like a solid pressed powder. And then from there we take it for melting, whereby we melt it and then allow it to solidify into a solid product. And from there we take it to a metallographic lab, whereby we start grinding and polishing our product so that it becomes mirror-like, like the surface becomes mirror-like. And then from there we look into the structure, like the surface, using a microscope, and find out if the features that appear are exactly what we want or are exactly what would be beneficial during application. So these products are normally used in, you know, biomedical applications. For example, we use them as implants to replace or substitute broken or damaged bones, either in old or younger people. Skills needed for one to be successful in this career involves technical skills. For example, being able to analyze the materials that one is working on, being able to do failure analysis, being able to do the casting, being able to work with powders. And the soft skills involve good communication skills, interpersonal skills, analytical thinking, problem solving. It's quite a number of them. The future of metallurgy is the fourth industrial revolution. That is the design of products using computers and the automation of process improvement or optimization. So when it comes to the design of products using computer, we normally think of simulation because it makes easier for us to just have products available and ready for use without having to go through performance of many trials in laboratories. And then the three-dimensional printing involves getting products directly from powders, metallic powders as starting materials.
And if you're not convinced about studying STEMI, we are here to give you one more chance, one more reason for you to study it. Joining us in studio is Sienda, who will be telling us why you should be studying science. Hi Sienda, welcome.
Hi, thank you, it's a pleasure.
Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
All right, hi viewers, I'm Sienda Skanya. I'm from a township called Kwatema, which is located in Springs in Johannesburg. And at the CSIR, I am a technologist in telecommunications.
And tell us, what does a technologist in telecommunications do at the CSIR?
Well, you develop technology. No, in telecommunications, you basically create devices that can help us in the country be more digital and connected to the internet. So yeah, amongst so many other things, but that's basically what we do. We do a lot of measurements. We're just all about spectrum, which is so interesting. So mostly what we do.
I can tell that you're excited just by talking about it. Oh my goodness. So just briefly tell us, at the CSR, which cluster are you from and what project are you currently working on?
All right, so I'm from the Next Generation Enterprises and Institutions cluster, and we're currently working on the TV White Space project, whose main aim basically is to bridge the digital divide in South Africa by connecting the underprivileged, to the internet basically. So yeah, that's like the main aim, amongst other things. That's the main aim.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Now tell us, how does this project affect the community? I hear that you say you want everybody connected to the internet, but in which way and who's everybody?
Yeah, so who's everybody? So, in South Africa, there are certain, for example, the rural areas, if you compare that area to the urban area, you realize that the connectivity there, or how people communicate with one another, or how they go about their daily lives is not the same. In the urban area, you might find that you can go to the hospital very quickly and you can be able to talk to anyone at any time, immediately you're there. But as soon as you go to the rural areas, it's quite difficult. There's no connection, there's no network and so forth. So I feel like with this project, we not only bridging that digital divide, but we improving our lives, whether it's through education, whether it's through lifestyle, whether it's through health. This connectivity, or this project basically, and the connectivity that it provides is to basically improve everyone's lives. It doesn't matter where you're from. It shouldn't matter where you're from, really. We should all be connected the same way, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll rest assured knowing that when I go to Siabe to visit my grandpa, I won't be having any connectivity issues.
Exactly. We don't want that anymore.
Ooh, I'm here for it.
We don't want that anymore. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Now, what has been the most challenging thing about the project or developing the project?
I'll run away from the technical challenges because they're very technical, but I'll say we've had the privilege of being able to take the project out of the lab and out of the office, and actually take it out and deploy it in these communities that are underprivileged. But I would say vandalism is probably one of the biggest challenges, and it's quite hard to also control it because it comes out of nowhere, right? But for us to create this huge technology and introduce these very valuable instruments and devices and deploy them in communities that need them the most, and then only for them to be vandalized at a later stage is so disheartening, and it's so unfortunate as well. So I hope that with the young ones coming in to STEMI, I hope that they'll be able to encourage the people around them and encourage their parents and encourage anyone else who can possibly buy this so that we can move forward as a country, because it's time.
It's time.
It's time.
You heard it. It's time. Now, what has been the highlight of the project?
Now, there's a lot of highlights. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Tell me.
But I'll say.
I want to hear them all.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So let's start with two, right? I'll give you two. So you're measuring. Let's say you're in the technical aspect and you're in the lab or whatever, and you're measuring, and you're just not getting that connectivity. You're just like, what's going on with this device? I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get, right? And then out of nowhere, on a random day, a random Tuesday, or random Wednesday, you actually get it.
It hits you.
It hits you. You want to tell the world. That's probably one of the biggest highlights that we get on a regular basis. And then another one definitely is seeing people connected. Going to these actual communities and seeing how happy people are when they realize that I can connect to this device here and walk 10 kilometers away and still be connected to the internet. It's an amazing... this is not like Wi-Fi, It's almost like Wi-Fi, but it's not. Because with Wi-Fi, when you go outside, you can't connect anymore, right? But with this, you can go as far as 5 kilometers and you still be connected. Where have you heard of something like that? You know what I mean? So it's just, it's inspiring. It's like, wow, I actually did this, Definitely a highlight for me.
Oh man, I'm just getting excited about it.
Exactly.
Which are some of the communities that it has been deployed in?
We have a few communities in KZN. Now, if I say the name, I'll butcher them, and I don't want them to be offended, so I'm just going to say KZN. We're trying to go as national as possible. Obviously, we take small steps little by little. As I said, a very huge challenge of vandalism. So we have one there. I think we also have one in Limpopo, if I'm not mistaken. Limpopo. Maybe also one in Mpumalanga, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we're going higher and higher. Don't worry. We'll be national in a few seconds. Don't worry. We'll be everywhere.
All right. Yeah. Well, I want to pose a challenge to our viewers at home to say, if you're in the areas that have the TV white space technology, just take a selfie, post it and tag us, #@CSIR. Now, coming back to this, how long did the project take from initiation space to now being deployed?
This project has been going on for quite a while. I think we have phases, right? So there's never like a destination, because we're always making it more advanced and we're always enhancing stuff. So
definitely,
I would be lying if I gave you a proper like time. Okay, it took 6 months, or okay, like it took 3 years. I'll be lying, because we're always developing and making it better and better. But I would say, as early as 2016, we've been busy with this. So yeah, and it's only getting better and better as we move on. So I'm looking forward to it. You keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears peeled.
Glued on it, glued on it.
Exactly.
Well, now besides this project, I know you're excited about it. I can feel it. But what has been this one scientific discovery that blows your mind?
You know what it is? There's so many, as always with me. So many things.
Okay, I'll make an exception and you can give me 2.
Damn. Okay, first 5G.
Yeah.
5G. I feel like people don't really understand the impact that 5G has, right? Like it can basically, let's say we're having a call over like a long area, like let's say over the world, right? The time it takes for me and you to connect is 5 times faster. Actually 100 times faster with 5G. It's crazy. And when you think about it in the perspective of health, whenever you have someone and you need to call an ambulance and stuff, you realize it takes a long time for the ambulance to come over. Yeah. We don't want that anymore. And 5G is here to tell you that I'm here to solve this problem. It's just mind-boggling on how this technology can even be. Like, it's just, what? This is possible. And obviously AI, obviously there's pros and cons, right? But I feel like there's more pros. There's more pros because it can learn something and then it can help you advance your own skills into becoming the best you that you can possibly be in your career.
Definitely.
Who doesn't want that? What? It's crazy. I'm all here for it.
And I'm all here for it. But speaking of AI, what are some of the things that people should look out for to not rely so much or be dependable on AI?
All right, so with AI, I think, when you create new technology and you deploy it into the world or whatever, I think there should be measures put into place that can prevent people from overstimulating it or overusing it, right? But still use their own intellectual, capabilities, right? Because that thing obviously is not human. There's obviously something that you need to still be human with, right? So I think also with discipline as well, it helps you as a human being to be disciplined as well. Yeah. So I think looking at it from that lens or from that perspective, is the perfect way for you to mitigate any challenges that AI brings to the table. So, yeah, definitely.
Thank you for that. And why should our viewers, the learners, now choose STEMI subjects and careers?
Do you know what it is? I'll give you a perspective from when I was in high school. And everyone was saying, Sienna, going to STEMI. I was like, why should I go into STEMI? It's good for your career. I'm like, which career? I don't even have a career at the moment, Yeah. But when you come into this space, it's so creative. I think one of the things that led me here is because of how it's not stagnant. Like something new is always happening. Like you're just never bored. Why wouldn't you want to be in a career field like that? Like it's so fun. Like it keeps you on your toes. Like you never know what can happen tomorrow. Yeah. Like you're always excited. And what's also nice about STEM is that everyone around you has the same goal, which is to succeed.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be in an environment like that? Even if it's your own dream, I feel like people know different things. You're around engineers, you're around researchers, you're around technologists, technicians, all of these great career fields or people that are excellent in their careers, and they can give you knowledge, free knowledge. They're always pushing for you to become your best self. And that's the STEMI field, that's the STEMI vibe. Like, why wouldn't you want to be immersed in that kind of vibe, So I feel like young people out there, don't think about the hardships and whatever. There's enough support for you to be successful in whatever career field you go into. But I feel like, go there because it's fun. Like, genuinely, it's fun. And you travel all the time. Like, you're not just sitting in the office like this. Yeah. You're always traveling and you're having so much fun and you're meeting so many great people around the world.
Definitely.
Why wouldn't you want to be there? Like, come over. Like, it's fun. So yeah, definitely that, yeah.
Thank you so much, Siada. And for you, if you want to have fun and still solve problems of our communities and, zhuzh up our country. Well, that's not the word, but help us elevate our country and be more technologically advanced as well. STEMI is the right career for you to choose. STEMI subjects are the right subjects for you to choose. It's not boring, it's actually very fun, and you have all the support that you need to actually be successful in STEMI. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
Molecular biology looks at how different molecules, DNA, RNA, and proteins interact with each other and mechanisms that they are involved in cells. So typically, a molecular biologist on a day-to-day would be growing plants or bacteria or human cells and trying to understand how these molecules are responding to different stimuli in the environment, or induced, for example, drugs that we use in our projects to try and understand how cancer cells are responding to different drugs that are given to patients. The projects that we're working on at the moment are focused in blood and ovarian cancers, specifically uterine and ovarian cancer for the gynecological cancers, that is, cancers that occur in women. We're trying to understand how patients who are either resistant to treatment or have relapsed and have run out of options can find FDA-approved therapies that could be administered from them. So we look at how a specific patient would respond to see that sample.